Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How are you guys been?
Well, we had some bad weather this morning, and it turned out to be a beautiful day.
Yep.
And it's going to be like that for a week.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be not even a cloud.
Oh, that's nice.
For 7 days.
So the holidays are going to be nice, and I'll be able to get some things done. I think I'm going to get out of my yard Friday and get the flower beds fixed.
If you remember, at the beginning of this winter, they said because of this thing and this thing and that thing, that there's going to be a blizzard condition come all the way down to Louisiana. That didn't happen because we're in full blown spring right now.
That didn't happen.
But then remember this: the government and all these people say they can't even predict this week's future. But if you pay more taxes, we can fix the climate. You can't tell me next week what it's going to be like, but yet you're trying to tell me what the weather's going to be like 100 years from now. Yeah, I don't think so.
Right.
I
don't think so.
You know, maybe we'll have to do a topic on global warming.
I think we should. I actually think we should, and I might have somebody that might join us for that as an expert.
That might be interesting. Just kind of talk about it and what it's all about and what does global warming mean and
how much bullshit it is.
Yeah, I think their climate changes. I'm very suspect of the human data.
I agree.
That's been used.
100% agree.
That's just one of those things that it became politicized.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of keeping it in the realm of science is where it needed to be.
Well, it's a fear tactic. They've used it as a fear tactic.
They've put it in the political sphere, and they've used this to try to advance agendas that I think are detrimental to our country's economic well-being. But you've got some people that are, really, really big on this. I know I've got a very good friend of mine that's a very intelligent individual, and he's just ate up with it.
I love these. Can I say dumbasses on the air? I love these dumbasses like
we're past the first minute. You can say that.
Okay. That go and they put this super adhesive on their hand and glue their hands to the road, and they're done. They have to cut that out, and they're having to amputate their hands.
Why?
Because they're idiots.
Dang.
Because it bonds to the hand and the concrete.
Yeah. That's nice.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, some people, people do weird things.
There's not enough facts to prove that our cars are causing this. But then the alternative, like we did in our EV scam special, is that just the lithium and what it takes to make an EV car is worse for the environment than the actual combustion engine.
Right.
And so, like you said, it gets politicized, and then when you start following the money, there's where the truth comes out.
Oh,
I didn't know we were going to hit this topic hard here at the top.
That's all right.
How did we even get on this?
We were talking about the weather.
The weather. It's amazing. We talk about the weather and it goes into electric vehicles.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, but you know what? That's all important because people are saying that the weather's going to change because of our misuse of the climate.
Right.
Is that possible? It might be to a certain extent. I don't know that we're creating this problem, but as a human on this planet, we need to be a little more responsible.
Of course.
If we can find a better way to do it, how about that?
Yeah.
But don't cause fear.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, like you said, and push agendas too.
Yes, and push agendas. So, that's right.
Yeah. By the time this airs, the Easter season will be over with. But right now, I'm hot and heavy in the middle of it. So I got a bunch of stuff happening and juggling things. And I made the joke before in the past that no one wants to hang out with me whenever I'm free and available and don't have nothing to do. But the second I've got like a week full of just stuff happening and family events and job stuff or whatever, everyone's like, I got a text message earlier before I got here to record. Someone's like, hey, are you available like Friday or Sunday? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have any free time either one of those days. So it's interesting, but it's been fun though. But
it'll be a big weekend for me.
Yeah,
I got my girlfriend coming in Friday, and then of course it's church Thursday.
Yep.
Friday, and Saturday night for me.
Okay.
So that's the Saturday night one is the long one.
Really?
Yeah, that one can be up to 3 hours.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a little kid, we went into the Good Friday service.
Yeah.
And we were raised Lutheran, and everything was draped in black. Everything was draped in black. And
yeah,
they said there's going to be an event that happens in the end. And when it does, you don't talk, you don't speak,
right,
you don't do anything, and you just walk out.
Yeah.
And I remember when the pastor went through all of that stuff, and he had this big Bible. It was probably 2.5 feet by 2,
Oh,
just
wow.
a huge, massive Bible.
Yeah.
And then he said, and then they closed the tombstone. Boom. And he slapped that Bible together, and it echoed through the whole church.
That's cool.
And it was just absolutely just insane.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've always remembered that from when I was a little kid when that happened.
There was one service I was a part of last year where they have like all the like the decorations on the altar and stuff like that. And as the like final song was playing out, like a bunch of the different people, like clergy and stuff, all walked up there and were like and took everything off the altar until it was bare. And then like once the pastor had like taken the last thing off of the altar and walked out with it, the music stopped and we just sat there in silence. And then we all had to just walk out, and it was just laid totally bare, and it was just a cool moment. I remember being there and I was like, this is heavy. So anyways, a lot of cool symbolism like that. So
yeah, for us Thursday is the celebrating of the Last Supper.
Mhm.
So there's the washing of the feet. And there's 12 people that get up there and get their feet washed that the priest goes around and does. And then Friday there is no mass.
mm-hmm.
It's strictly a service. It's adoration of the cross. It's at 3:00 in the afternoon because that's where traditionally is when Christ died. It was at 3 p.m. And then Saturday night is the Easter Vigil, and that's where all the new people coming into the church are baptized.
Wow.
That have been going through what they call the RCIA process.
Mm-hmm.
So they all get baptized, they get confirmed, they receive Eucharist, if people that are coming into the church.
Right.
And then and that one's usually because that mass actually starts outside.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has candles, and it started
Cool.
in the dark, and you're around the fire, and then you process into the church from the fire with everybody holding a candle.
That's cool.
And then it's a beautiful service. It really is, but it's
I can see how it takes very long.
it can get long,
especially if you got a lot of confirmands.
Yeah, there's like eight readings.
Wow.
There's 8 readings they read in that service. So yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, so,
That's fun.
So that's not what we're talking about.
No,
today,
no.
folks.
Well, it's good
No,
that
but
we
you
started
know
off
what?
light and fluffy at the
It's
front. at the top.
interesting that this is a fantastic way that we started today's episode with human connection.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and talking and human connection.
Good point.
Good point.
See?
Yeah.
Stone always has a way of finding that angle, you know.
And
They say his mind's not the same, but I don't believe it.
I think there may be something there.
It's and I only say that because of an event that happened this weekend to me.
Right.
That created some faith for me again, re-strengthened my faith. I lost an uncle this week, last week, and this last weekend, he went home to Jesus on Friday, and in I guess what was the worst day for my auntie, there was a miracle that happened in that church that day. And it was fantastic. Maybe one day in an episode soon we'll talk about it.
That's awesome.
I was part of and witnessed the miracle.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Uncle Delgy had something to do with that when
Yeah.
he was walking up the stairs.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's cool.
but
thought.
it's the human connection
Right.
that's so important to us, especially to me right now, with the last 2 years with the accident and the brain surgery and everything else, and meeting Miranda, and the human connection is so important. And we did an episode a while back on AI where one of us did something kind of really funny in the beginning. Had y'all going there for a minute. Yep. And with everything going on with quantum AI and all the chat bots and everything else, Ian came up with a great idea a couple of weeks ago about talking about, and we all joked about it, you know, press 1 for human.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, what is it going to, with everything, the misinformation, the deep hacks, the deep fakes, the deep just information, when you can see right now, if you're watching TikTok and you're watching feeds on Instagram and Facebook, you have a deep fake of Elon Musk talking about this. If you do this, I'll give you a free Tesla. And then there's another one that pops up with Ted Nugent saying, we're giving away, you know, $2,000 crossbows. All you have to do is pay $29.99 on shipping, and nobody's getting these crossbows.
Right.
But they're taking something from, they can do it now with a picture of a person and some of their voice and turn it into a video. And man, what's going on with this?
Well,
Ian, you wanted this one, so
Yeah,
there you
so-
go, buddy. Fire away.
So to kind of bring us into this,
I thought I did that.
No, you did. No, but to kind of give it.
See, there goes my brain
No,
again.
no.
Oh, well.
To kind of give it a name, to kind of just to clarify what put
Press
a name.
1 for human.
Yeah, to put
press 1 for human.
is I had taught. I've watched a few videos, and there's a couple people online that I've watched that have some really great things to say about this, and because again, it's something that I wouldn't say that I'm worried about or that I obsess over, but of all the things that I think is, you know, concerning and it's something I've looked into, it's been AI and like all that kind of stuff. And so it's considered the expanding dark forest and generative AI. It's this idea that we talked about this whenever we talked about our great filter episode a little bit.
Yeah.
About if you shout out into space, and you don't hear anything, you know, is there a reason why we don't hear anything back? Is it because everyone's being silent because there's something else bigger at play, that, you know, a bigger fish that swallows up things that make the most noise? And it's either everyone's being silent and they're not informing us, or we're the first, or again, everyone else has passed away and perished because of that, and we're just the next person to, you know, get gobbled up by whatever space monster there is.
Well, you know, that's a great thing there, because when you think about it, in this deep, dark forest,
right,
if you're loud, you get eaten.
Right, exactly.
But then yet men have to have all the fancy feathers and all the colors and everything else to attract the female.
Right.
You know, so that kind of, you know, sinks it for us, because they have to have the calls and everything else.
But still, so what they're saying as far as with like the dark forest and generative AI and all that stuff is that I have noticed this personally, being on the internet for as long as I have been, and just noticing little things about how the internet has changed over the past 5 years even. But, you know, since I've been a child, it's changed so much. But specifically now, it feels as though there's so much generated content. Even before this whole, like, AI boom, there's been a bunch of just, like, surface level, like, just felt disingenuous and all that kind of stuff. But now even more so, it just feels like what we consider the public spaces are all, you know, filled with, you know, AI or just other like generated content and all that stuff. But like whereas like us humans have like dug down a little bit and gone to these other more controlled environments and I just think it's an interesting premise. And it's also, this whole thing kind of builds upon the idea of like, what if in the future, hypothetically, AI becomes such a big and prevalent thing that instead of us having to ask, like you mentioned before, is like checking the box if you're not a robot, is like checking the box if you're a human. Like, you know, like that CAPTCHA thing that's like, hey, to prove that I'm not a robot. But it's like now you have to do
the reverse Turing test.
Exactly, to do a little bit extra and just to prove that you are a human and all that kind of stuff. So, and I think it's interesting. I think you guys were watching the talk that I was talking about that I referenced. The girl, I forgot her. I think it's Appleton. I think was her name. Maggie. She had talked about that the creator, and I don't think this is him doing it purposefully, but one of the creators of ChatGPT has now created that device that can scan your face and your retina and all that kind of stuff and give you a cryptographic key that is specifically to you, because
they know what's coming.
Exactly. And I think, right, and that's what I'm saying, is like, I think it's so interesting that like the people that created this are, I think, also in the same boat of like, I don't know where this is going to go, but we need to start getting some checks and balances in place. Well, I've been talking about for...
You have to remember that the past is truly the best predictor of the future.
Right.
And after Bill Gates stole Microsoft and everything else from other people, who designed the first virus?
Oh, yeah. You told me about this, yeah.
Bill Gates.
Right.
Bill Gates designed the first virus to attack Microsoft and computers. And then he developed the first antivirus software.
There you go.
So if these people with AI are kind of leaning toward the same thing,
and that's what I'm saying, is like
they're creating a situation to help.
Right.
Okay, then they know there's a problem there, and they're going to try to make money on it. I like what Maggie said, that she can see Twitter coming up with this, hey, for $30 a month, we can prove that you're a human.
Right.
Well, y'all realize that this was actually, I found this funny that this has been going on for a long time, but actually we've been speculating whether machines could have human intelligence.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
I found a book.
Uh-oh.
Was it written by a human or an AI?
It was by a human at that time.
That you think.
There you go.
See, AI's actually been around since 1967.
Well, I go back to a book by Samuel Butler, 1872.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, he was probably a little bit before AI then.
The book was called Erewhon.
Oh,
and it's the first book that dealt with the question of whether machines would have human intelligence.
I think I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but I've heard it before.
The first movie that brought this subject up was called Metropolis.
Okay.
Produced by Fritz Lang. It was about 100 years ago.
Wow.
But so this idea of human intelligence goes back. It's kind of been in the lexicon for a while.
Yeah. Even certain kind of pop culture movies have kind of talked about it before. Certain video games have touched on it as well, with synthetic humans or androids and having some sort of autonomy or stuff. So I think a lot of times in sci-fi it comes in the idea of like a personified robot or something, or some sort of what is it from 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
HAL.
2000. Yeah. So like something like that. But now I think we're having a conversation about something that kind of feels nebulous, and because it just feels like there's nothing to pinpoint it down to something physical like that. So it feels a little more disconnected, but it's all still the same conversation of it's still.
Did y'all get a chance to look at 2023 Imperva report?
I'm not.
The Imperva Bad Bot report.
A bad bot report? Uh-oh.
It's just a report that's put out. This is, I think, their 10th year of putting out a report. In 2022, go figure, I have some statistics.
Okay.
In 2022, nearly half of all internet traffic came from bots.
Yep. See, that's what I'm talking about. Is, again, you can't look online and it not
a
be...
5.1% increase over the previous year. That's crazy. Some of the key findings from this report, I found some of this kind of interesting. 30.2% of internet traffic in 2022 was bad bots, a 22% 2.5% increase from 27.2 in 2021. So it looked like it's going up. Good bot traffic increased too. It accounted for 17.3%. But I think what their problem is what they're worried about is the sophistication of the bots.
Mm-hmm.
Generally lean more toward kind of doing things they shouldn't be doing. Those bots are the ones that have increased at a pretty significant amount. Let's see here. I'm reading here. Bad bot sophistication continues to rise. Advanced bad bots account for more than half of bad bot traffic. In 2022, evasive bad bots accounted for 66.6% of all bad bot traffic, an increase from the previous year. So, I think we have some problems here of the sophistication of these bots.
Mm-hmm.
Now, basically, half of all internet traffic is not even human driven.
Yeah.
It's all automated. So you don't really know what is actually being put out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually being an actual human being actually doing this. So these are all computer related things that are basically taking the place of humans.
Right.
So the question is, how do you know? Goes back to our
right.
Our question is, how do you know what's human and what isn't? So if half is bots and it seems to be going up,
right.
What does that mean for the future?
And that was what I was referring to whenever the creator of ChatGPT is funding or helping fund this process of making this sort of device that can scan your likeness and prove that you're a human being and you have some sort of key, you have some sort of identifiable quality that this is you. And I think that they mean to do that for probably like writers and artists. You can probably put your stamp on it and go like, this was made by a human. That's probably what it could be. But at the same time, I think it could even expand more towards like what you're talking about with, just searching online. It's something that proves that you are who you say you are. And
so basically, you're going to have more CAPTCHA type,
right, or
type technology
put
in there to.
Yeah, you have to have something physical that can scan you in some way that can prove that you are who you say you are. And then if you have this icon that only you can have, almost like a social security card or something. It's like a identification of you, but online in some way. I'm not sure that's what it's actually going to be like, but like that's kind of what the discussion is, talking about, which is crazy to think about.
Well, right now, travel, retail, and financial services are the most affected by bad bots.
Oh, I believe it. Even when
you know what the highest is?
I bet it's Amazon.
Gaming.
Really?
No, really.
58.7%. And telecommunications had the highest proportion of bad bot traffic on their websites and applications.
Interesting.
So
one of the things that was also talked about on that discussion is the fact that what is the phrase that it uses? As a large language model, I cannot, or whatever, or the I cannot fulfill that request is like the number one. It's the most input item on Amazon. So like what they'll do is like they'll post an item to like sell on Amazon and then and it's just so lazy they'll just go onto chat and just type in like,
if you remember
copy and paste it.
That was actually in the news
not
long ago with reviews. Are now being driven by
because
AI
people are just
and
lazy. They're just lazy. Instead of copying and paste it correctly, they just copy and paste the whole thing. But if you remember when we did that AI episode, and I asked AI if it believed in the 3 laws of robotics, and I messed with y'all. And then when we came back, it said that same thing as a chat model. I read the whole thing, and that was the first sentence out of it. So
there's a whole bunch. I just looked up. There's a whole bunch of items that are like furniture and stuff, and it just says, "I apologize, I cannot fulfill this request. It violates OpenAI use policy. Gray 78-inch table length."
Wow.
And I'm like, so but like that, and there's like so many other options of it, and it's just,
Did
Crazy.
y'all read about the dead internet theory?
A little bit, not a whole lot though, but
It's an online conspiracy theory that asserts that the internet now consists mainly of bot activity and automatically generates content that is manipulated by algorithmic curation, marginalizing organic human activity.
Yeah.
And that's what she was
So the
referring to.
Imperva report basically is kind of leading credence to
Right.
to
And
this
that's
theory.
what this whole talk that I was discussing was like this whole dark forest. Is those numbers there are proof that like the main open. Once upon a time, whenever I was a teenager, you had the web, and then you had the dark web.
Right.
No one went on the dark web because obviously you don't want to go there on purpose. There's a lot of shady stuff.
Right.
A lot of bad things and nefarious people that go on the dark web.
Yes.
And now I feel like we're in this future area now where like that's even one step below what we're talking about. Like I feel like, and Maggie even talked about it in her talk a little bit, was it like I don't see people just like scouring the internet unsupervised without like having some sort of assistance or having some sort of like, help or whatever in the future, because like it just is like the Wild West out there. Right now it's all just bots, generating fake content and all that kind of stuff, and it just feels like it's all, eating itself or whatever. Which is another thing that you talked about as well, is, these large language models are based off of human experience, human writing. So it all starts with us, and then we would feed it all into this machine, and then, of course, it regurgitates it back to us in some way. But in the future, like, I think now newer models of it are all getting trained on its own information, whether it be false or not, or it's, I think they even refer to it as something, but it's
hallucination.
Oh yeah, you're right. Hallucination. Yeah, AI hallucination.
Hallucination.
It's all. It has its own world, and it's all like this cyclical thing where it's teaching itself, and it's like the blind leading the blind in a way.
Well, Nina Schick, who's a misinformation expert, basically has said by 2025 most of the internet's going to be synthetic.
I believe it.
The human aspect of it is, I think, is.
It feels overran right now. I can only imagine.
Matter of fact, they said ChatGPT and its users are producing more text than has ever appeared in every physical book that has existed.
Yep.
Every
week.
2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. I knew it was coming. Like it's going to be a week or something. So
unbelievable.
That's wild.
Unbelievable.
Well, y'all remember I wrote that one book in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And that was just because I was learning how to do it. Now that I know how to do it, I could probably do it in less than a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you were talking about Amazon.
Yeah.
These are the areas where they don't have a CAPTCHA type test, and that's why these areas are having the problems where they're just full of bots and everything else. Amazon reviews, tweets, Yelp reviews, and LinkedIn posts. Are very susceptible to this evasive technology that's kind of messing and making you think, well, I don't know if this is even real or not.
Well, what it does is and there's a good side to this. I wrote a book. Mm-hmm. And as I'm learning the AI, if we remember, I downloaded AI on my computer to research AI, and I have bots. I have all of that. I have access to all of that. Mm-hmm. And if I wanted to promote that book, I could have it do that. I could give it access to these forums, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever, and have it generate all of this on its own to promote my book, which I couldn't go take my book to a book thing and have a contract put on it.
Right.
But I could have the bot do that for me and have people come to a website that the bots could generate.
Yep.
And
that's crazy.
And sell my book.
Yeah.
So
there's kind of a good side to it, and there's kind of a bad side to it.
Well, there's plenty of YouTube. I forget the guy's name. Used to be Google's.
I don't remember.
CBO. He left Google, and now he's talking about what's going on with AI, and he's sounding the alarm, just like Elon Musk did, that this thing is so rapidly expanding that I don't think we know where this is going. I really don't. There's so much money being dumped into this right now because, if I don't do it, then somebody else is going to do it, and they're going to have a competitive edge over me. I mean, the nature of how we compete with one another, unfortunately, is driving this, and I think we're driving headlong into something that the way he described it, and I'm speaking about the former Google CBO, we have basically developed and created our next master. Because that's where it's going. ChatGPT 4 is 10 times bigger than GPT 3.
Right.
The next iteration is 10 times even bigger than GPT 4.
Right.
Which GPT 4 is incredible.
Of course.
That's what
So
I
it's
have
good.
for.
And it's fixing to be, the next one is fixing to be 5.
Yeah.
And it's going to blow that thing away out the water. So this thing is exponentially growing as we speak. Something that was
before you say that, like I just wanted to clarify that, like, ChatGPT, I'm pretty sure came out like November of 22, I believe. So like I think that in the course of, I started talking about this as like a concern around this time last year. And so now it's like we're a whole year now, and it's like, and we're talking about number 5 and it being 10 times better. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't know the answer. I don't know how to fix this, but it just is like, it's concerning and how rapid it's happening and how, quickly things are changing and how much people are taking advantage of this thing.
Supposedly
OpenAI
has, I've been seeing some things on YouTube that it's actually, they have reached AGI.
Nuh-uh.
Yes. That it's there. Matter of fact, Elon Musk
I don't like that at all.
has said they have it probably by the end of the year. So I found this funny. I found this funny. It's just something I found that as I've read more and more about AI, I didn't really know anything about artificial intelligence other than watching sci-fi movies.
Of course.
Prior to me even involving myself with this topic.
Right.
But there are 10 stages of AI.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's rule-based AI. There's context-based AI. Narrow domain AI. Reasoning AI. Artificial general intelligence, which they're saying we're at now.
Right. A lot of these we've kind of hit on those as the years, like you said, AI's been around since the 60s, was it?
Right.
So like a lot of those like earlier stages have kind of been what that is, and so we've been throughout the years.
So that they consider that the Holy Grail.
Right.
So this one they got coming up, it says the Holy Grail. It says it can do any task a human can do. You can teach it anything like an adult human. It learns 1,000 or millions of times faster. It understands your mood, your thought. I mean, even the human brain can interact with it,
right,
and speak to it directly.
Yeah.
So you can see where we're going with this.
Yeah.
The movie Surrogates keeps popping back.
Yeah,
up.
I mean, it's coming. After that is super intelligent AI. Now you've taken that, you've jumped that up another magnitude up.
Yeah.
At that point, you can base it kind of operates on its own.
Skynet.
It kind of operates on its own. It doesn't really need any human input at that point.
Right.
Then there's self-aware AI.
Yep.
Then transcendent AI.
Just so people know is that a lot of times what people kind of misconstrued is like because the current AI can talk like a human and can quote unquote conjure up its own dialogue by guessing and searching and and taking back from the experience of other humans, people assume that like right now it's self-aware, but it really is only just generating, other things.
Okay,
so,
but you're saying that, but
right.
what they're doing now, that bot model that I talked about earlier about my book.
Yeah.
There are people, and it costs a couple of dollars to do this, but set it up to where there are fake influencers,
right,
that get together and have their own podcast.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay, I want to promote my book, so I generate and I spend 6 months with building these influencers using nothing but bots and going out there and get followers, and then all of a sudden generate their own podcast.
Right. Yeah. YouTube, like, they can go on YouTube channels. Yeah.
Because they can do video, they can do fake videos, they can do everything now.
Yeah, they set up accounts, they do everything.
They can do it, and that's now.
Right. Well, the next,
but I think what I'm referring to is like that still needs external, it still needs a push. Like I think when it comes to self-aware, it can do it on its own without you putting any input in. Right now, there still is like a human element.
There's an elephant.
There's a human element of at least a prompt or something pushing it to do that.
Sure, but it can, once you do that, it can do 99% of it.
So now we're getting to a point now where we're exponentially increasing to that next level. Anyways,
right? That's what I'm saying. So I know,
but are we that far from it? Because if we remember last year in Japan, the robots of this factory took over the factory, killed, 5 people. Yeah. They pulled the plug and then proved that the computer system using AI and the robots was trying to generate, number one, its own power or reconnect to the power on itself.
Right.
So are we there already?
Well, look, I'm just saying, based on Neil, that I do believe that AGI is here. Mm-hmm. You pair that with a robot body, and now you're getting to the point where you can have an actual robot at your house. Once that level of technology, the material sciences get there with producing bodies, but as far as the system that would drive it, it can do anything.
Well, Japan's already
anything a human can do.
Japan's already producing the bodies. What they don't have is the brain to be able to push it too far. They're close,
right?
But right now, you can still kind of tell it's a robot, but they're not that far from it.
Well, the next jump, that super intelligent AI. Matter of fact, Ray Kurzweil. He's kind of a futurist and is in these technology. He's indicating that at the end of the 21st century, that level will be there as far as technology-wise. And at that point, now these systems are trillions of times smarter than humans. And not only that, in essence, they can compress what they can do is basically take 20,000 years of human ingenuity and development, and now you can do what you did in 20,000 years in 1 century.
Right.
Which is just unbelievable.
It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have self-aware AI, and that uses quantum algorithms to model human consciousness. Mm-hmm. Now we're really getting into sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting into
next level stuff.
Yeah,
we're into immortality.
Yeah, well, warp drive engines and what it can do and stuff.
Are we now able to take our conscious and put it into something else?
That's exactly like Lawnmower Man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember that movie?
That was a great.
That's a good movie to do for the.
Yeah. That was a great movie.
Yeah, another one after that is transcendent AI. Mm-hmm. Now we've really gotten to a point where it can almost create its own life forms, whether biological or digital. They basically use nanobots, basically, the way this was explained. After that, cosmic AI.
Oh, gosh.
Forefront of interstellar exploration, because it can go out into space. It don't have to worry about cold, heat, time,
oxygen,
any of those things that we have to worry about. So, and then after that is what I call what was that movie with, what's her name?
Lucy.
Yeah. Godlike AI.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
All-knowing conceptual being, operates across multiple quantum states. Mm-hmm. It can possibly manipulate time. It can parallel universes and
y'all haven't
that
done
kind of
on
stuff.
your other podcast. Y'all haven't done
Crazy
Lucy.
stuff.
Not Lucy, no.
Lucy would be a good one. Yeah. Scarlett Johansson, Morgan Freeman.
That's right. Yeah. It was a good movie because that's in essence where she got. Yeah. And Lawnmower Man, you could almost say he was there too in that movie. But yeah, so I mean, I think as we see it, I don't think it's going away.
No.
I do feel that a lot of jobs are going to get automated.
Oh yeah. It's already happening right now.
Right. And I don't know what that's going to mean.
Well, if you want a Big Mac sandwich, you just think about it, and the AI takes over and flies it over on a drone to you. And there you go. There's your Big Mac sandwich.
Yeah, I don't know what this is going to mean but there's a lot of very important people that are sounding the alarm that we're diving into this, we're rushing into this because everybody is dumping money. Every program now is AI. I was on my computer the other night, and even Acrobat now has this AI in it, and it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yep.
Really?
Well, you have to take this really to the next step, that they want to depopulate the Earth down to less than 500 million to 1 billion people, which means they want to kill 7 billion people on this planet because they're not going to be needed in the workforce because everything can be then automated.
Yeah, what are you going to do with 7 billion people?
Hello, COVID. Hello. They're working on ways to take us out now. And, when you want to automate everything, what was the little movie, the animated movie where the Earth, WALL-E.
Oh, WALL-E, yeah.
WALL-E. Do you remember WALL-E?
Yeah.
And how fat and how lazy people had gotten living on the ship because they didn't have to do anything because everything was done for them.
Yep. And that's what and I've said this before about a lot of stuff. Like, I feel like there are so many, oh man, I don't even want to get into it, but like there are so many, we talked about this briefly on the glorification of being busy. You have all these things in your life that you try to make efficient. You try and make it more efficient, like as far as time management and stuff. And you keep making things easier for yourself. You keep making things, whatever it may be. But like, what do you do a lot extra time? Like realistically, like you scroll on TikTok a little more. Do you stay on social media a little bit more?
I guess.
So that's the thing is like where I have come into grips with that was like when I'm honest with myself and I try to like cut some corners and make things easier for myself, and I'm a little bit lazy, or I don't do this or I don't do that. Like what extra time how am I utilizing that extra time? What am I doing to like better myself with that extra little bit? A lot of times I feel like, especially in America now, it's gotten to a point now where it's lazy in numerous different ways, but it makes me a little sad.
They're trying to, which one, what's that one guy, the socialist guy wants to go to a 32-hour work week and no cut in pay. What's his name?
I don't know.
Sanders. What's his name?
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. He wants to go to a 32-hour work week with no loss of pay.
Well, I think in Europe that's how they operate too.
Well, they also operate. You get a month vacation every year too.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different.
But the thing is now, like we're getting to a point now where, and I think I keep referring to this talk because because Maggie's talk, I'll link it in the show notes for this episode. But she had talked about like writers and like how there's like mediocre and really great writers, and how it's going to raise the floor. Right, it's going to lower the floor and then raise the ceiling of all those, like the people that are already mediocre are probably going to be probably going to be a lot worse than what AI can produce. But there's going to be like the barrier to entry for a lot of people, especially positions and workplaces, you got to be better than that, or you have to at least bring something to the table. And so I'm not saying that's not going to happen where you have a 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. But right now, when you have like companies that are like trying their best to like, I think one thing that she talks about right off the top of the bat, as a writer, she's like, I get tired, I get hungry, I got to use the bathroom, I would like some days off. Whereas like AI, you don't got to do that. You type in some things
24/7.
And again, I don't condone this, but like as a person that could like has a business, I mean, you talk about cutting some corners and bringing profits up. I mean, you got to really bring something to the table in this day and age, I feel like, which is kind of scary as well. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe things will get wrangled in. Maybe things will change. But like, it makes me nervous for the future, especially creative works. Not so much in certain spaces.
Well, there's a lot of people.
It's like
a lot of people in the entertainment industry right now were striking because they're just worried about
the writer's strike.
Getting replaced.
Right.
That was one of the big things about the writer's strike was the getting replaced and the royalties.
Yep.
From the streaming services.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So, it's crazy. And it's just, like I said, it's been something I've been thinking about recently, and there's a couple of videos from a guy named Kyle Hill that I think are kind of funny, but also very poignant, and I think do really help. It helps me at least be able to see certain things and wrap my head around some of these kind of bigger topics, because it's like, it's a scary stuff.
Right now, trying to prove that you're a human now in this ecosystem that we're in. That video that Maggie Appleton talked about,
right.
There are some techniques that we can use. And the way these large language systems are built, they're built upon statistical probabilities,
right,
and
right.
They associate words, and in essence, the program is very basic, so to speak. And I think if I remember her saying is that a way to kind of trick to let you know that, hey, this is a human, was to basically talk in lingo.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
Yeah,
because it won't be able to keep up.
It won't be able to keep up
because
so if you're constantly
it's
changing, then the system can't
keep up. Yeah,
it can't do that. So that they were saying that it was a way, for systems to verify that's a real human being versus a machine.
What he's kind of referring to is the fact that like a lot of times these language models do have a little bit of an outdated view on certain things because it's not 100% up to date because of how the whole system works. So if you use certain slang terms, or if we were to come up right now and come up with like a cool slang word for something, AI wouldn't be able to figure that out if we were to use that and like texting to each other in some way. But in a couple of years, whenever they, that kind of gets folded into the whole process, it probably would understand that. So, but yeah, anyways, that's kind of what it refers to.
Right now, that would probably be your best way that
come up with some code words.
That companies can verify what's real and what isn't.
Right.
Those are just some techniques is to constantly keep things changing. Now, I think as AI advances to some of these higher levels,
it'll be able to keep up.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's the whole.
At that point, then it's. I think we're at a point. We're
doing its own lingo.
We're at the singularity. You know.
But that's the kind of interesting thing that I wanted to pose whenever I wanted to talk about this, was just the idea that like I feel like not only are some really important people talking about this and kind of ringing the bell, blowing the whistle a little bit, but I think. I think that we also have a platform. We're kind of on the cutting edge of some of this stuff too, and I think this is one of those things as well where we're kind of joking around about it now, but like you said, by the end of the year, we could be singing a different tune, to what AI looks like and what it all, looks like, or how we're all feeling about it, and like that kind of stuff. So I think we're kind of joking around, but like I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of years we're having to do something like that, like really.
Well, I think you hit on something with the laziness of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because my stepson, I don't care what he sees. If it's on the internet, he believes it. Mm-hmm. It can be outrageous, far-fetched bullshit. He's going to believe it.
Right.
And if it's creating so much information and it's so quick for us that we've just become lazy. One of the things Maggie said is that you actually need to go out there a little further and work harder for the information now because it's so much out there.
Yeah.
And to prove it, you need to research it. You need to verify. I have a friend of mine at work. His name is Lanny, and his saying is "Trust but verify."
Right.
Trust but verify. Always trust but verify. And you're going to have to do that more now. You're going to have to, especially the verify part.
Yeah.
Hey, I look at that face and I know who that is and I trust that person. But now I got to verify that that was really the person that does it or said it.
Right. Well, especially when it comes to we don't need to go into this whole rabbit hole, but like political stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I was exactly fixing to go
political
there.
stuff and propaganda and people's.
Because there's a video running around right now of Joe Biden declaring nuclear war on Russia. And you can't tell it's not him.
Right.
But they used AI for it. And you're like, ooh.
That's scary.
Shit. Yeah.
That is scary.
Yep.
And so right now we're going to have to get over that laziness and we're going to have to start verifying what we see.
Yep.
And not take everything for face value.
Yep.
Especially when people's lives are in danger, when money is involved, people's feelings. You've gotten hot and heavy on just the artist part of it.
Well,
creation of songs, creation of, I wrote a book in 3 days.
Yeah.
Using AI. Right. I mean, it's a good book.
Right.
But how much of it's me and how much of it's AI?
There's some fun. Again, it can be a tool. And I've talked about this before.
Yes, a tool.
It can be a tool. I have a really, there's a rock band that I love very much, and they're from Canada, and they're
everybody take a shot. He said Canada again.
Is it? They're great people. But one of the things that like the lead singer thought it'd be fun to do was she has this whole cool like concept idea for like this album.
They're going to let AI generate a song.
No. It's about well. That's the thing. So the funny thing is like the story is about like AI in this kind of like space age adventure kind of thing or something like that. And so what she did was she went to ChatGPT to get some prompts, to get some ideas, and use that as inspiration for lyrics. And she's like, how funny would it be about an album about AI? We use AI a little bit to kind of help, write some of the words and stuff. And so I was like, and that's a cool idea. That's cool.
Yeah,
it's
it came
fun,
from
it's
us
creative.
because somebody used the AI to generate the AI episode.
Right. But so it's a cool idea and it's fun. But again, I think that there are applications where, it can be beneficial. Like I think we talked about in the past, medicine, where the fallibility of humans come in a little bit. I think that, computers in the past, I think even in the future can really help us, get a little bit, not make as many mistakes or catch something that we didn't quite catch. So I think that there are some good applications, but sometimes like right now it just feels so corporate. It feels so capitalistic, and it just like there's a lot of, and I know that there's probably good aspects of it, but it just feels so messy because of how, I don't know, it just feels, and I get nervous because now, like you said, there's so much money getting put into it. There's a lot of stuff, and I think people are getting really excited about it, but I don't think they fully understand it. And
I'm concerned about the weaponization of it.
That's what I'm saying.
And if we're instead of a nuclear arms race, we're in an AI arms race.
Oh, absolutely. Because even if America puts in controls and balances, that doesn't mean Russia and China have to do that.
Right.
Yep.
So, and then we get back into with the viruses. Okay, just because there's treaties out there that say don't do this, this, and this, other people are still going to do it. Yep. So now you're going to have to experiment with the viruses so we can come up with supposed antidotes for what they're doing, and then ours gets released. And so there's a dangerous game being played. It's the new Cold War, and it's using AI, and what is it going to bring? Because now you can use, with drones. We use so many drones right now because you don't have to put a pilot in it. Yeah. There's a pilot still flying it in some base somewhere. But what happens if you put AI in that drone just to be able to,
I've watched I believe it was a YouTube video regarding drones in this last I think it was where they were saying was some. I don't know if that was in Afghanistan or somewhere where the drones were I mean, they picked their own targets. There's no human,
yeah, they do that now. Yeah.
There was no human involvement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have some parameters established, and
Right. It's crazy.
it's crazy how that works.
Right. Well, I mean, I think is there I think I mean, is there anything else you want to touch on? Because I think that's all I wanted to talk on. I think we're hitting our limit now.
Yeah.
But
well, no, I just think that it's a fascinating topic. It's very interesting. There's a lot of things to be concerned about. There are a lot of important people sounding the alarm.
Yep.
I think we're rushing headlong into this. I don't think we know quite where this is going to go.
Yep.
We'll see.
Thank you for letting me have this moment, because I know, like I said, I know in the past during a handful of episodes, I know I've taken a stance and been like, we can't talk about this here, and we've talked about it briefly on one of our episodes. But like I said, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think it's fascinating. And when we decided to do the original AI episode, and I got kind of involved in AI, I enjoyed it. It is a tool.
Yeah.
And there's some fun aspects to it. But then even I realized, even what I'm capable of, there's some dangers of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting about it is normally, when you figure AI's been out since the late 60s, 67, I think, you had to have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have a lot of power just to be able to utilize AI.
Yeah.
Well, now everybody can have it.
Yep.
And so if I can generate the amount of stuff that I can generate, and now you multiply that times 1 billion people, and then they always wondered what the capability of the internet was. I think we're fixing to find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
We are.
Because there's going to be so much information flying around that it's going to create some bottlenecks.
Yep.
And we're going to truly find out what the capabilities of the internet that we have is, and then match that with AI.
Yeah.
And I think there could be some abuses of it, and we're seeing that now with some of the AI bots that are creating videos and people. There was somebody talking that they can take a picture of your 12-year-old daughter now and create a porn video.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
How,
It's crazy. And it's wild that's the kind of world we live in now.
That's insane to me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we don't really know. What are the ramifications of this?
Right.
I hope we exercise wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's too late. Maybe the genie's already out the bottle.
Pandora's box is opened.
I'm very. I'm not encouraged when people are competing against each other to be first.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Is the natural tendency is to rush into things.
Right.
Yeah.
It just is.
Sure.
Because competition breeds that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I win, you lose.
All right. Well, if anybody else has any suggestions or wants to put in their 2 cents, we have an email address, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can send them more long form answers. We have a Facebook page /Retrospect Pod, where you can send little comments and some little more short form. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. God bless.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. You're the best. Peace.